All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Nicole Safely with the Relentless Networking Showcase. And I'm super excited to have Ramandeep Singh with us this morning. He is an accomplished web developer with an in-depth knowledge of entrepreneurship. He comes to the table with deep software development skills and talent, and particularly focuses on front-end technologies. You can ask him about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React, which actually, Ramandeep, I intend to do. So I've got some work. I don't know if you freelance, but I would love to talk to you after this. And he is really, when we think about his key strengths, he's very keen. He's a curious individual, very focused, hardworking, and is a good communicator. Ramandeep,
Yes.
welcome in. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everybody at Relentless. I love this group.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? We have a good time. We come together every day and support one another in our job search. It's just awesome, and we're glad you could be here with us. Tell me a little bit more about your background in software development and entrepreneurship. What's that looked like over the years for you?
Okay. So initially I started in my software career path in 2017. I worked mainly in fintech, which is financial technology services. First company of mine, which I was there for about 3.5 years, was Manifold Capital here in Toronto, Ontario. And it's a pretty large firm, international firm. And what I did for them was basically I designed the software that they used initially at the client side, meaning their websites and the pages and keeping the upkeep for that, and all kinds of databases for them on the back end as well. But mainly I worked on the front end, so developing the HTML, CSS, JavaScript functions, how we navigate through all web pages as we do today. And also within that company, once that was done, I was a majority team lead for that. And then I just did a little bit of upkeep as technologies advanced. And then I just kept the company up to date with their front end. But mainly afterwards, within the second year and the last 2-ish years that I was there, I was working on the algorithms that they used actually to do their financial technology work. For example, mainly it was data analysis, using inputs from the markets and learning about data structures and any changes and shifts, and therefore figuring out the best options on how to automatically, using algorithms and software, no human contact, to really start investing their capital and stuff like that to produce good returns. So I did that for about 2.5 years with them. So I did front end software engineering with them. And then later on in 2021, from January to December, the entire year, I worked with another startup firm in Toronto, and it basically did the same thing. Whipped up their front end web page using JavaScript, React, and all those things. So they had a ready to go presentation for public. And once I got that done and ready, I started doing the same thing again with them. It was a remote company, so always had agile environments where I was working with multiple people on Zoom calls and learning new technologies on the fly and developing new algorithms for them, just like I did for my previous company, in order for them to do automated investments and stuff like that without any human contact, like algorithmic wise, that big banks do as well, as Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, these ones, they all use algorithms. So that's what I was working on for them.
Oh, very cool. I love it. I'm a geek at heart as well. And they don't let me write any code anymore, though. Like, it would not be good. So appreciate you and what you do. When you're out there looking for your next company, what's important to you? What are you looking for?
I'm looking for, the main thing for me is because the way technology moves so fast, I've heard about many cases where people would have a lot of experience, but just the way technology moves on, they're unable to tend to the current market because technology moved faster than they did. So I just want to be in a company that's always on cutting edge, and so it allows me to also be cutting edge, learning new technologies, and I would love that. So a learning thing is big for me, where I can learn more, get certifications, et cetera, just to be the best. I just enjoy being really good at what I do, no matter what it is. And a remote company would be best for me. I would like that because I feel like, once I'm locked and loaded here, I'm dedicated, I'm focused, right? The commuting and stuff. And plus, I feel like in the tech space, if you're remote, you're able to capture a wide variety of talent compared to localized wherever you are in Toronto, let's say, or
Yeah.
anywhere. So working with better people, like smarter people, or just wherever people are, talented people across the world. So remote would also work best for me. So these are the two things that I look for.
Yeah, learning and maximizing. It's funny. I'm an agile coach, and so my space of being with developers was always like we need to be physically together so we can communicate. But I've been challenged through COVID and see our productivity is actually a lot better
Yeah.
in most cases, just because you take all that fluff out and you don't have the extra time and you can commit easier. So what do you think when you think about, whether it's the front end design or the algorithm, like what's your superpower? What do you find sets Ramandeep apart from others?
Um, I would say no matter how much success or experience I've had, like I'm always, like I said, technology is so fast moving that I'm always humble. I'm always learning. I'm always being a mentee to people and learning and learning and learning. So that way, I always provide value. So that's sort of my superpower. I'm never I never act like or try to be a know-it-all. I try to learn continuously, and that comes from a space of me understanding that I don't know it all. So I'm continuously learning, and then this gives a good value approach to everybody around me, and it just sort of lifts people up in that sense. So the
Yeah.
curiosity and that stuff, I feel like that's what I bring all the time.
How do you learn best? Like what a modality is best for you or multiple?
Uh, Mainly, I would say like a visual. So I'm not a visual learner, right? A visual
Mhm.
learner when I see, and then also doing it and then applying those two things together gives me like a solid understanding of what I'm learning. And
Mhm.
that's my best way.
When you're faced with something and you're working and you don't know it, like talk me through your process. How do you figure things out?
So first I don't um I, like I said, I never claim to know it all. So because when people do that, they sort of sometimes they do a fake answer, and that limits their productivity, and that's just these sort of things that I don't get into. I uh i first try to structure the best way to learn it, figure out what exactly I don't need, then I figure out the resources that I do need to learn it, and then I'll learn it, apply it, and figure it out so I can further teach the people that I needed to give the answers to. And
Mm.
step by step, learn and grow just like that.
Yeah, I love that. When you talk about cutting edge, my radar kind of goes up a little bit as an IT leader. I'm like, oh boy. So how do you determine, cutting edge from bleeding edge? Because like bleeding edge can be a little bit difficult, like there's always, especially in JavaScript languages, there's new frameworks all the time. How do
Yeah.
you determine where you're going to set your sights? Is there anything that you think about when you're looking at new technologies for viability, and making sure they're adequate? You know what I mean? Not too soon, not too late, that kind of thing. What's
Right.
your thought process?
um well, when I'm freelancing, typically there's not really any limitation. If I feel like a framework or a library gives me what I need, I'll use it. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
working with a company that has some sort of legacy code or has some sort of code that's used in a little dated, not really dated, but legacy code, I would say, like it's previously used technologies that are well known, that's where I'll stay. Like even live, even like let's say React JavaScript, which is maintained and created by Facebook, and it's widely used in a lot of applications and companies. They're always releasing updates and new documentation on what their features new are. So that's the cutting edge that I'm always staying on top of.
Yeah, very good. Love it. So tell me about what do you like to do for fun? Switch gears a little bit.
I like to, I like to, you know, work out. I enjoy going to the gyms. These self-improvement things are what really get me going. Like I enjoy these things to see changes. I have a beautiful dog, Duke. He's asleep somewhere,
I
and
saw him earlier. He is pretty. What is he? What
a
kind of dog?
golden retriever
Yeah.
purebred. Yeah, he's amazing. He's
Oh,
my best friend, and I love hanging out with dogs. Dog parks and stuff. That's what I enjoy. Pretty much than that. You know, just hanging out with friends. Enjoying the other side of life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another side of life besides work. Thank goodness. I love work, but I also like the other side too.
Work hard, play hard. I enjoy it all.
Absolutely. I love to ask everybody, like, what is the last book you read and what's the impact been for you?
Um, well, to be honest, it's this past year I've really been learning all about coding. So it's probably, it's nothing really. The book is about JavaScript, like a how-to manual and stuff like that. So it's helped me a little bit learning a little bit more about closures and creating higher level functions, and that's what I've learned. But I mean, if it wasn't for these technical books, the last book I read was actually The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
It's more of a book talking about understanding the present moment and living in within the moment that we're at. Typically the human mind is always thinking about yesterday or tomorrow, or etc. But the present moment is what created the yesterday and tomorrow. So that's something that's what I read, and it's really good. I enjoy that book.
I love it, right? We're not guaranteed any moment other than the one that we're in. And, when
Exactly.
we focus on the past, we're destined to recreate the past as the future because that's where our mind is, right? So
Exactly.
the only place to be. There he is.
There he
Duke.
is.
He's having a little trouble getting up. He's like, it's an early morning. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Ramandeep, thank you so much for sharing. And I do wish you the best of luck. The positions you're looking for, obviously front end developer.
Front developer, React developer, JavaScript developer, software developer, these type of things where it's anywhere in the software space. I'm able to provide value. I really do enjoy the front end, mainly because my experience is high there, but I'm always looking to learn more, be more. So full stack developer, these type of things, software developer in general, that in that space, there's integration. There's so many types of positions in that space. Like I've seen on LinkedIn, there's so many different job titles. But within that space is what I'm looking for. Agile, no, sorry, not agile, integration, API specialist, these type of things.
Mhm.
I love it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, best of luck to you. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure.